In the world of maritime trade, there are a few key waterways that afford outsized power to those who control them, some of them being the Panama Canal, the Malacca Strait, and of course, the Suez Canal. The Suez Canal is a man-made waterway connecting the Mediterranean and Red Seas via a nearly 200-kilometer-long canal. The most recent estimates assess that 12% of worldwide maritime trade passes through this key route annually. It was for this reason that Egyptian President Gamal Abdel Nasser nationalized the canal during the 1956 Suez Crisis, leading to a war fought between France, Egypt, and Israel on one side, and the burgeoning Egyptian state on the other. As you might expect, any cessation of trade through this key bottleneck would have major consequences. In March 2021, the container ship Ever Given ran aground inside the canal and blocked the passage for 1 week, leading to an estimated $1 billion in damages. Resultingly, it's no surprise that Israel has been considering reviving an old plan to construct an alternative route, bypassing the Suez Canal altogether. While Egypt and Israel currently enjoy peaceful and somewhat cooperative relations, the canal was repeatedly closed to Israeli maritime traffic during the Suez Crisis, the 10-year period between the crisis and the 1967 war, and during various periods in the following Arab-Israeli conflicts. The plan to bypass the Suez Canal, named the Ben Gurion Canal, would run from the southern port of Eilat on the Gulf of Aqaba through the Negev Desert before veering west and connecting with the Mediterranean Sea above the Gaza Strip near Ashkelon. The canal would run 100 kilometers longer than the Suez Canal at approximately 293 kilometers in length. It would also feature a wider and deeper design, allowing for simultaneous two-way container ship traffic through the canal, something the Suez Canal cannot currently accommodate. Should the plans come to fruition, control over the canal would afford Israel tremendous control over maritime trade in the region, including major influence over the worldwide supply of oil and gas. Additionally, the canal would create a hard physical barrier through the Negev Desert. Given the scope of the planned canal, actually building this ambitious waterway presents several significant challenges. Part of the planned route is difficult mountain terrain. In addition to the complex engineering requirements, the estimated cost of construction is $55 billion. Interestingly, the plan to bypass the Suez Canal is not a new one. Declassified documents from the 1960s show a U.S. plan to bypass the Suez by blasting a 160-mile-long waterway using 590 nuclear bombs. The 1963 declassified document titled Use of Nuclear Explosives for the Excavation of Sea Level Canal Across the Negev Desert states, another interesting application of nuclear excavation would be a sea level canal 160 miles long across Israel, connecting the Mediterranean with the Gulf of Aqaba. Conventional methods of excavation of this magnitude are prohibitively expensive, if indeed possible, but it appears that nuclear explosives could be profitably applied to this situation. Obviously, this plan never came to fruition, and the feasibility of using nuclear explosions to construct a canal nowadays is next to nil. As expected, opposition from Egypt and other allied Arab nations presents a major challenge to the project. The canal currently brings in $9 billion in annual revenue for Egypt, and as illustrated here, is rapidly growing. While this only represents about 2% of GDP, it represents a major challenge to the nation's economic hard power. One potential issue with the plan is that should it go through, Egypt may decide to widen the Suez in response. Portions of the Suez have already been widened to prevent a repeat of the 2021 week-long blockage, and the estimated cost of widening the entire canal is a third of the cost of the Israeli project. Cost estimates for the Israeli project vary widely, with most estimates putting somewhere around $55 billion. It's important to keep in mind that cost is not the entire story here, as Israel and its allies' motivation for the project is not merely financial, but strategic. The Ben Gurion Canal project was conceived back in the early 1960s, but never came to fruition due to potential Arab opposition, as well as engineering challenges. However, the recent normalization of relations between Israel and several Arab nations, including the United Arab Emirates and Bahrain, via the Abraham Accords, has led to renewed interest in the project. Immediately following the signing of the Abraham Accords, the UAE and Israel signed a deal to ship oil via pipeline from Eilat to the Mediterranean Sea. Additionally, a maritime and trade route called the India-Middle East Economic Corridor was developed to ship goods from India to Europe, passing through the UAE, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, onto the Israeli port of Haifa before connecting to the Greek mainland at Piraeus. Immediately following the Ever Given incident blocking traffic through the Suez Canal, renewed interest in the Israeli canal has come from several sources. Despite this, no official announcement has been made regarding the ambitious project. Some speculate that a construction project of this scope would first require resolution to the unstable situation in nearby Hamas-controlled Gaza. While the original canal route ended above the Gaza Strip in Ashkelon, the possibility exists of shortening the route by constructing it through the Gaza Strip instead. The recent war in Gaza and its occupation by Israeli forces lend some credence to this theory. Whether or not this was the underlying reason behind the Israeli invasion and occupation is unlikely. However, reports that Israeli intelligence were forewarned about the October 7th Hamas attack lend some credence to this theory. Another interesting point of contention regarding the Gaza Strip is the 1999 discovery of large offshore gas fields within the Palestinian maritime jurisdiction. The Gaza Marine gas field, located 17 to 21 miles off the Gazan coast, holds upwards of 1 trillion cubic feet of gas and should be under development by the Palestinian authorities. However, due to the complex relationship between the Palestinian Authority, Hamas, and Israel, negotiations to begin developing this gas field have repeatedly broken down. In March 2021, the PA signed a memorandum of understanding with the Egyptian government to develop the Gaza Marine field. However, this sparked rebuke from Hamas, who believes they are being cut out of the potentially lucrative deal. In June 2023, Israel announced plans to move forward with the aforementioned deal, alongside Egypt and the Palestinian Authority. Any deal of this type would require full cooperation between Israel and the ruling Palestinian government. Israel does not see Hamas as a stable partner for this type of project, hence the signing of the deal with the Palestinian Authority. Should the project come to fruition, it would place significant revenue in the hands of the Palestinian Authority, increasing its power relative to that of Hamas. However, as the gas field is located within Gazan territorial waters, Hamas would want a share of the income. As the Israelis are unwilling to participate in this sort of a deal, they have further motivation to eliminate Hamas and replace them with the more cooperative Palestinian Authority within the Gaza Strip. Speaking of geopolitical strategy, we have yet to mention the impact of a potential Suez alternative to China's Belt and Road Initiative, specifically the 21st century maritime Silk Road. China has been investing heavily in Egypt's maritime industry and strategic ports, including along the highly strategic Suez economic zone. In the past 5-year period, China's foreign direct investment in Egypt has increased significantly, exceeding $300 million in 2023. And it's not just general FDI that has been increasing. Chinese companies have pledged over $3 billion in the Suez Canal Special Economic Zone, a 455-kilometer-long zone governed by an autonomous body designed to foster foreign investment and the growth of new industries. China is currently the largest user of the Suez Canal and regards it as one of the critical maritime conduits for the successful completion of the maritime Silk Road, the other two being the Strait of Hormuz and the Bab al-Mandab Strait. Egypt currently enjoys friendly relations with both China and the United States, but since the ascension of al-Sisi as president in 2014, there's no question that relations with China have warmed considerably. Unlike other developing countries currently restricting Chinese investment at the behest of the United States, Egypt does not wish to choose sides and maintains an attitude of neutrality. If at some point in the future China is able to sway Egypt further into its sphere of influence, an alternative route would be of enormous value to the United States and its allies. Any canal built through Israel would undoubtedly be firmly under the umbrella of the United States and the West, and allow for an alternative route through friendly territory.